Hello everyone, welcome to Everyday Essential series of Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy. So today in this series, let us discuss the topics of 30th July 2025. First, we are going to discuss about the IPC, that is the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification. Second, about the Barbados Thread Snake. Third, about the National Population Register. Fourth, about the Kaziranga Tiger Reserve. And finally, Columbia Country Mapping. So let's start with our first topic, that is the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, which in short known as this IPC. So what is this IPC and what is the context of this discussion? See, we have been witnessing or reading in newspapers daily about the worst humanitarian situation in Gaza, right? Humanitarian crisis is happening in Gaza, which is the war hit zone. Israel is stopping the humanitarian aid, which includes the food, medicine, and water, and all other essential things to Gaza. The Israel is stopping the flow of these essential goods to Gaza. So regarding that, this IPC has said that raised the prospect that this man-made starvation crisis could be formally classified as a famine. So this IPC said that regarding this crisis, it said that it is a man-made crisis, right? Man-made starvation is happening there. So it can be classified as a famine regard with respect to this IPC. So we'll see what is this IPC. So this IPC is established in the year 2004. By whom? By the Food Security and the Nutrition Analysis Unit, which in turn managed by the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization. So this was developed by the Food Security and Nutrition Analysis Unit of FAO in the year 2004 and in Somalia country. So it is an innovative multi-stakeholder initiative, global multi-stakeholder initiative. It involves many stakeholders. And what is the objective or purpose of this IPC? See, to improve the analysis as well as decision making on two aspects, that is particularly on the food security and the nutrition. So this IPC will analyze the food security and the nutrition aspects, and regarding this, they will help in making the decisions. So as of now, there are 21 organizations and intergovernmental institutions in this IPC. So that's why it is known as a multi-stakeholder global initiative, which aims at focusing on the food security and the nutrition. So what are its functions? See, it will build the technical consensus. So this IPC will build the technical consensus regarding the food security and the nutrition by collaborating with other partner organizations or the intergovernmental institutions. And it will also classify the severity and the causes. The severity of the issue. See, now the context of this Gaza humanitarian crisis, which is a man-made starvation. So this comes under this function, second function. Now IPC is arguing that, or IPC is saying that it can also classify this man-made starvation into a famine. So it will classify the severity and the causes, and it will also, after classifying, it will communicate for action, and also it will provide quality assurance also. So these are the four main functions of this IPC related to the food security and the nutrition. So this IPC classification, we'll see how these IPCs classified the countries. But this IPC classification is used in countries such as Ethiopia, Sudan, Congo, Gaza Strip, Somalia, and Yemen. So now let us go to this IPC scale of classification. So how it will classify? See, it will classify the into three main core areas, that is the three scales, that is the acute food insecurity, chronic food insecurity, and the acute malnutrition. So this IPC, what we have discussed, its first function is to technical analysis, right? So by technically analyzing the situation in any particular country, it will decide the situation of this food security or the hunger within These three scales: acute food insecurity, chronic food insecurity, and the acute malnutrition. So under this acute food insecurity, how it will classify an area as acute food security? See, food deprivation that threatens lives or livelihoods regardless of the causes, context, or the duration. See, here it is the food deprivation which threatens the lives or livelihoods without any cause, context, or duration. This is classified as the acute food insecurity. And what is the urgent need of action? To decrease the food gaps and protect lives and livelihoods is the urgent need of action to be taken and to be communicated to the countries. Next comes the chronic food insecurity. See, chronic means persistent or the seasonal inability. Persistent or the seasonal inability to consume the adequate diets for a healthy and active life, mainly due to the structural causes. See, in the first case, it has not given any causes, but here it was given mainly due to the structural causes. If there is a persistent or the seasonal inability to consume the adequate diet for a healthy and active life, it is considered as the chronic food insecurity. And what is the urgent need of action here? Address underlying factors and potentially implement the safety net programs, because it is a structural causes. Because of the structural causes, they are witnessing this persistent and seasonal inability. So we have to take actions in the structural measures only, that is providing safety net programs. And third classification comes the acute malnutrition. See, it says that there are high prevalence of acute malnutrition, which is accompanied by the high or increasing levels of morbidity or the individual food consumption gaps. There's a high prevalence of acute malnutrition, and along with combined with the high or increasing levels of morbidity, that is death, or the individual food consumption gaps. So with respect to this, what we have to take the measures: scale up acute malnutrition treatment and prevention for the affected populations. So these are the three main classifications given by the IPC. And now there are phases also. There are phases in classifying these areas into which phase the country or the population which are facing this humanitarian crisis is in. See, let's go for these phases now. The IPC gave 5 phases. First is the minimal, the phase 1, which is the minimal. In this, more than 4 out of 5, see, more than 4 out of 5 households are able to meet the essential food and not food needs without engaging in any typical unsustainable strategies to access food and income, including any reliance on the humanitarian assistance. So this is the food security, right? See, this is the first phase. That means more than 4 out of 5 households are able to meet their food and the non-food needs, food and the non-food needs there by themselves, without relying on any humanitarian assistance for this food and this non-food needs. So this is the phase 1. And then comes the phase 2, which says that the stressed phase. And then comes the second phase, that is the stressed phase. So in this, what it will say, even with any humanitarian assistance. So here we have no reliance on this humanitarian assistance. But in the second phase, there is assistance on this humanitarian aid. So in this, even with any humanitarian assistance, at least 1 in 5. So 1 out of 5 individuals have the following or the worst conditions. What are those? See, minimally adequate food consumption. They are having this minimally adequate food consumption. Yes, food consumption is there, but they are unable to afford some essential non-food expenditures. So in the first phase, they are able to meet their food plus non-food, both non-food, without any humanitarian assistance. But in the second phase, we have the humanitarian assistance. But here also 1 in 5 households are only able to meet the adequate food consumption only, but not able to meet the non-food expenditure. So this is classified in the second phase, that is the stressed phase. And the third phase comes here, the crisis. See, here also, even with any humanitarian assistance, in this also 1 out of 5 households face any of the following conditions. So what are those following conditions? See, food consumption gaps with high or above usual acute malnutrition. Here they are having this humanitarian assistant, but 1 out of the 5 people are facing this acute malnutrition, or else they are marginally able to meet minimum food needs only with accelerated depletion of livelihood assets. That will lead to food consumption gaps. So yes, they can meet the food minimum food needs, but how? Only with the depletion of this livelihood assets. So this is termed under phase 3 of this classification, that is this crisis mode. Coming to the fourth phase, that is this emergency. So what is this emergency? See, the emergency phase is that's the same. Even with any humanitarian assistance, at least 1 in 5 households have these following conditions. What are those? Large food consumption gaps exist, result in very high acute malnutrition, and the excess mortality also observed here. And next, or else extreme loss of livelihood assets that will lead to food consumption gaps in the short term. There is mortality here, also the livelihood assets are also extreme. And fifth comes this famine. So even with any humanitarian assistance, at least 1 in 5 households have an extreme lack of food and other basic needs. See, 1 out of 1 extreme lack of food and other basic needs, where starvation, death, and destitution are evident here. So these three are evident in the Gaza situation, right? Gaza Strip. So regarding this, now the IPC is considered as telling that yes, even man-made starvation can be considered as a famine. So this is the classification phases of this. How this IPC will identify the areas into these 5 phases. That is the minimal phase, which is food security, and the stressed phase, crisis, emergency, and the famine phase. And here see urgent action required increases with respect to the increasing of this phase. Now moving to a second topic, that is the Barbados thread snake. See here you can see the picture of this snake. So why we are discussing this? See, this is the world's smallest known snake, that is this Barbados thread snake. Everyone thought that this snake has gone extinct because it was not visible in the last 20 years. But as a surprise, today or yesterday, the scientist of this Barbados has found this snake in under a rock. So we'll see about our world's smallest known snake, that is the Barbados thread snake. So it is the world's smallest known snake species. It is located, or it is thrived in the Caribbean islands of Barbados and the Anguilla. Barbados and the Anguilla, which is the Caribbean islands. And what are the habitat of this Barbados thread snake? It lives in the tropical dry forest. It lives in the tropical dry forest. And see, the total length, including the tail of this snake, is only approximately 10 centimeter, which is 3.94 inches. See, you can see the picture. If this snake is to be called on this United States coin, it will fill this coin. So that is the 10 centimeter. That is the world's smallest snake. And it is nocturnal. It is active during the night time, and it will hide under the rocks during the daytime. And these are solitary fossorial creatures which are adapted for burrowing. So it will burrow the ground and they will live there solitarily in the burrows. And these are carnivores. These Barbados snakes are carnivores. They live or they feed on the termites and the ant larvae. And these are described or protected under this IUCN as this critically endangered species. So this is about the world's smallest known snake, that is the Barbados thread snake. And moving to a third topic, that is the National Population Register, NPR. So why we are discussing this NPR now? So the Union Government Minister informed the Lok Sabha that no decision had been taken to update this NPR during this 2027 census. So now we are conducting this 2027 census. So regarding that, the union government confirmed that the no decision has been taken to update this NPR during this census exercise. So what is this NPR? See, the main objective of this NPR is to create a comprehensive database of usual residents in the country. Usual residents. So who are these usual residents? See, usual residents means any person living in India for 6 months, or they are willing to live in India for the next 6 months. They're going to live in India for the next 6 months. Those are known as this usual residents. And this NPR is a register containing details of persons usually residing in a village, rural area, town, or ward, or the demarcated area within a ward in a town or in a urban area. So it was framed under the Citizenship Act 1955, and also regulate or also entrusted with the citizenship, registration of citizens, and the issue of national identity cards rules 2003. And under this process or during this NPR process, no document will be collected during this exercise. So this NPR was first prepared in the 2010 and updated in last 2015. So this, remember, NPR is a register of usual residents. Now coming to a fourth topic, that is the Kaziranga Tiger Reserve. So why we are discussing this Kaziranga Tiger Reserve? See, there was a study conducted by an organization entrusted by the NTCA, National Tiger Conservation Authority. And that report has said that this Kaziranga Tiger Reserve in Assam has recorded the third highest tiger density. Third highest tiger density in India after the Bandipur Tiger Reserve in Karnataka and the Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand. So we'll see about the report highlights. So what the report has said, so 148 tigers were recorded across this 1307.49 square kilometer area of this Kaziranga Tiger Reserve in the 2024. And coming to the tiger density, that means number of tigers living per 100 square kilometer. That is the density, right? See, in the first tiger density, the most tiger density having in this Bandipur Tiger Reserve of, see, the first tiger density national park or tiger reserve is this Bandipur Tiger Reserve of Karnataka. So it has 19.83 tigers per 100 square kilometer in the total area of this 1456 square kilometer Bandipur Tiger Reserve. So this Bandipur Tiger Reserve is the largest tiger density tiger reserve. And second comes the Corbett tiger density. It is the second largest tiger reserve with the tiger density. That is the 19.56 tigers lives per 100 square kilometer in total area of 1288 square kilometer. And third comes the Kaziranga Tiger Reserve. So what is the tiger density in this Kaziranga Tiger Reserve? See, that is the 18.65 per 100 square kilometer in 1307.49 square kilometer. So that's how it stood in the third position. So first tiger density is in, first largest tiger density is in Bandipur, that is 19.83 tigers, and second is in Corbett Tiger Reserve of Uttarakhand, that is 19.56, and third is the Kaziranga Tiger Reserve of Assam, that is 18.65 tigers. Now coming to the history of this reserve, see, this reserve has a history going back to the pre-independence days. See, in the year 1904, the visit of Mary Curzon, this Mary Curzon, who is the wife of this Viceroy Lord Curzon, visited this Kaziranga Tiger Reserve. And there she noticed that there are no signs of one-horned rhinoceros. One-horned rhinoceros. Before her visit, she knew that this place is famous for this one-horned rhinoceros. But when she visited, she observed that there is no one-horned rhinoceros in this Kaziranga place. So then she ordered, or she said to the Viceroy Lord Curzon to protect this area. Then regarding the a request of his wife, Viceroy Lord Curzon, in the year 1905, declared this Kaziranga as the Kaziranga proposed reserve forest with some protection measures. And then in the year 1908, he declared this Kaziranga reserve forest. So there are restrictions and regulations for usage of this forest. And in the year 1916, it was declared as the Kaziranga Game Sanctuary. And in the year 1934, the people there started to name it as this Kazirana. Instead of Kaziranga, they used to call it as the Kazirana. And in the year 1950, after India getting independence, it was declared as a wildlife sanctuary. And in the year 1974, it was declared as a Kaziranga National Park. And in the year 1985, it was declared as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And in the year 2006, due to the significant number of tigers in this Kaziranga National Park, it was declared as a Kaziranga Tiger Reserve. So this is the history of this Kaziranga Tiger Reserve. So it is both a national park and a tiger reserve now. So it is located on the foothills of this Karbi Anglong district, which is spread across the civilian districts of three districts of Assam, that is Golaghat, Nagaon, and the Sonitpur of Assam. So the Brahmaputra River Diffalo and the Mora Difflu flows through this Kaziranga Tiger Reserve or the Kaziranga National Park. So coming to the vegetation of this park, it includes the eastern wet alluvial grasslands brought by the alluvial sediments of this Brahmaputra River. Next, the Assam alluvial plains, which are semi-evergreen forest, and the tropical moist mixed deciduous forest, along with the wetlands and the sandy bars also. So these are the vegetation of this Kaziranga National Park. This park also has a corridor connectivity, which connects with the Rajiv Gandhi Orang National Park and the Nameri Tiger Reserve of Assam. And now coming to the other special features of this Kaziranga National Park. This Kaziranga National Park hosts the 1/3 of the world's one-horned rhinoceros. So, see, 1/3 of the world's one-horned rhinoceros, and it is also declared as an important bird area by the BirdLife International due to the presence of the grassland bird species. Grassland, important grassland bird species like finch weaver, parakeet, and other etc. Grassland bird species. This is declared as an important bird area, and this is home to one of the largest snakes. Those two of the largest snakes. Those are the reticulated python and the rock python also. Also, it is home to the longest venomous snake in the world. That is the king cobra. So this is about the Kaziranga Tiger Reserve, which is also the national park. And next, moving to a final topic, that is the Colombia. So why we are discussing now Colombia? See, there is this Colombian ex-president named Uribe. Uribe, he served as a president from 2002 to 2010. And then he was accused with the witness tampering, and after 15 years, he was found guilty of asking right-wing paramilitaries to lie about their alleged links to him. So after 15 years, now he is a 73-year-old. Now he found guilty and facing action. So, and he is the first South American country's first ex-president to be convicted of a crime. Now, so let us see the mapping or geographical features of this Colombia. And this Colombia is the only American country which is named after Christopher Columbus. So who is this Christopher Columbus? He is the inventor of this America. So this is a country in the South America. Capital is Bogota. And this Bogota is situated on the highlands of this Andes Mountains. And see here, you can see here it is Colombia, South American country with its capital Bogota. It is bordered by Venezuela. Yesterday, we studied about Venezuela with its capital Caracas. And okay, Colombia is surrounded by Venezuela, Brazil, Peru, and the Ecuador. And here it is also connected with this Panama. And see, it is the only country in the South America with coastlands and islands along both this Pacific Ocean Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. This Colombia is the only South America country having coastlines along both the oceans, that is the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. Coming to the rivers of this Colombia, these are the Magdalena and the Cauca, are the two rivers which serve as the lifeline of this Colombia, and its official language is Spanish. Yesterday, Venezuela's official language is also Spanish. And this Colombia is the one of the world's largest mega diversity country in terms of biodiversity. It has many. The Colombia is rich in biodiversity. So that's all for today. Thank you.